morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly episode. This is episode number 224 for July the 18th, 2023. So, lots of things today to show you and talk about. This could be a long episode. I'll try to keep it down to a reasonable length. So, let's jump right into it. And here is the finished creation, my latest finished creation. This is called the Mirror Quilt. The pattern is by Jordan Fabrics. It's a free pattern, and this is the one that I made for my sister-in-law and brother, and I think it turned out pretty good. She says she loves the colors in it and everything. It has a very modern feel, and as an added bonus, if you look at the quilting the way and stare at the blocks themselves, they look like they're three-dimensional. It almost looks like they're sinking down into the floor, and that was just a happy coincidence with the quilting pattern that I picked. Now, someone asked, I showed this on Stephen and Walter Live last week and last Sunday, and wanted to see the quilting up more closely. So I'm going to try to blow this up and see if you can get a better look at it. Too much? Oops, don't want to do that. Don't know if I can move this. No, I can't really move this around on here, but it's called Pipeline. I'll just pull out a little bit further. Maybe that'll make it a little clearer. Okay, it's called Pipeline, and it's basically rounded cornered squares that interlock with each other. It's a fairly dense pattern, but I thought that would go very well with the more modern vibe to this quilt. And as I said, when you look at it for a second or two, it looks like the squares are receding into the background. So I thought that was kind of a cool effect. Didn't know that was going to happen, oops, when I did it, but it did. So by chance, I don't even have to send this out to BC, where my brother lives, because my brother was here. And I didn't know that he was here because I sent them an email saying, here's a picture of the quilt. If you like it, it's yours. You know, we'll make arrangements to get it to you somehow. If you happen to be out here in the next month or something, then maybe you can pick it up. But it turned out after I sent that email, about 2 hours later, I got a text message from my brother, and he goes, hi, we're here. Meaning they're here in my area. They came out here because, well, they didn't come out for basically a holiday, but my sister-in-law's mother is, was in the hospital. She has the early stages of dementia and some Alzheimer's. And so, the family, my sister-in-law's brothers and sister were all getting together and working with her working with my sister-in-law's mother, working with her to get her into a place that could accommodate her needs and stuff like that. And, I've been through that. Walter's been through that. And I'm sure many of you have been through it too. It is not an easy thing. It's emotionally and everything else wise that it does. So anyways, they were out here not for very happy circumstances, but I gave them the quilt. My sister-in-law, my brother think it's wonderful. And so we'll be off to BC when they return to BC. And my brother does have room in his suitcase for it because he brought something out for me as well. So it was kind of like give one, take one kind of an idea. But I'll tell you more about that in a moment. But let's move over to the other project. This is the Tomte. I love doing this quilt. I didn't love doing all the cutting because it's all made up of 2.5-inch squares and 2.5-inch half square triangles. But I think it turned out great. Now, some people are going to say, well, why didn't you just, instead of having to cut all those squares, and here's a close-up, you can see all the squares, and there's like about 600 squares in this. Thank goodness I have an AccuQuilt, because that made short work of it, but mind you, it was still about 2 hours of cutting. What people are saying is, well, why not just redesign the pattern so that, all of these white squares you have here just become strips? Yes, you could do that, but I think it would take away from the look of the quilt. This adds some texture to the quilt and actually gives it kind of a pixelated, kind of effect. So this is one pattern of many that this particular designer has done. Her name is Tracy Perks. I'm going to talk a little bit more about her and her website and her patterns in a few moments. And spoiler alert, I have arranged to do an interview with Tracy. I think will be a fascinating person, but more about that in a bit. Anyways, the top is done. The pattern did not call for borders. I decided to make it a little bigger and I thought it needed the borders. So I just used the three principal colors that I used in the quilt, and put them into strips and attach those to the quilt. And now I have to get it on Lucy and quilt it. And I have some ideas of the quilting design I want to use on here. I think I'm going to do in sort of a silvery thread, snowflakes and swirls. I think I have a design like that, or I have seen one anyways, so I'll be hunting for that. And as a finishing touch, after it's all quilted, I'm going to applique a little freestanding snowflake right here in the center of this little hat, pom-pom, or whatever you want to call it. So as I said, I'm really pleased with how it turned out so far. I hope I don't blow it with the quilting. Excuse me, a little hiccup. And yeah, so I'll show you that when I get that completely done. Okay, I have the hiccups. I'll be back in a sec. Now, this is the next project I have started, and some of you might be familiar with this. This is called Cat Scratch, the Cat Scratch Quilt. It is by the Art East. I always have trouble with their title. I don't know why. Art East Quilting Company. They're a Canadian designer. John is the designer and his partner, and they're in Nova Scotia. And many of you have seen the other kits. The guy who sews, Sean, he does a lot of Art East kits. Right now he's working on, he may have finished it, the Wizard of Oz one. I have never done one of them before, and I saw this kit for this one at the Canadian Quilt Show. So I picked it up. I've got 2 of the cats done. There are 6 cats. They're in different poses. These 2 are one pose. And yeah, it's a lot of little pieces for this as well. Not difficult to do. The instructions are very, very clear. It's a very, very well written pattern with lots of diagrams to show you where everything goes. But it is a little bit fiddly. It can almost borderline on tedious because of all the little pieces, but the end result I think will be worth it. So I'm really pleased with how these little cats have turned out, and I'll show you more as I get more of them done. I have all the pieces cut for the next 2 cats, and believe me, the cutting takes a long time for this, and it is all pieced. It is not paper pieced. It is patchwork. So, and that's something that appealed to me as well, because I'm not a big fan of paper piecing. I know, sacrilege, because so many are into it right now. But I'm not one of those people. Okay, so that takes me to what's happening, what's coming up, what's next. Well, sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, as usual, this Wednesday. It's on every Wednesday morning starting at 9 a.m. Please be patient with me. If you come earlier than 9 a.m., like I've had a few people come on at about 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm on here already at that point in time, usually, but I don't usually let them in, and I'll let you know why that is. Stephanie and I usually have a little business meeting, so to speak, before, we get started with things. So once we've got things out of the way, then we let you in, kind of a deal. So, and I know too, some people get on early because they get the time zones a little bit mixed up, which is, yes, very confusing. I agree with it. So we are in the Eastern time zone. So if you're, out on the West Coast, well, that's 3 hours difference, meaning that 9 o'clock for us is 6 o'clock in the morning for you. And, if you're over in France, like Nadine is, I think it's about 5 hours into the future. So 9 o'clock becomes about, what, 2 o'clock in the afternoon for her. So yeah, it gets very, very confusing. But, you can come and go as you please too. But if you've been sitting there and you've come on at, 8 o'clock Eastern time or whatever, and you're wondering, do you have the right link? Yeah, you have the right link. It's just that we need a little time to talk to each other about what we've got planned in the future, things like that. But all are welcome. So hope to see you on Wednesday if you're able to make it. Okay, another thing. Well, speaking of sew days, we had a pop-up sew day, Stephen's birthday bash. It was my birthday on the weekend. And I think most people know that by now. If you don't, where you been? I've been only talking about it forever. Yeah, it's my birthday month. Let's put it that way. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. Anyways, we had the pop-up sew day. I think we had a new record for number of people on one of my pop-up sew days. I think there was about 45 at the height, 45 or 46. That was wonderful. People did send me comments and messages saying how much they enjoyed the day, how much they got done, and that's really one of the aims of it. My main aim for having a pop-up sew day is to offer a social event where people can work on something they love to work on and to get together with like-minded people and just talk. And we talk about everything. We don't necessarily talk about quilting. If you've never been to a pop-up sew day, the group is extremely friendly, very supportive, and we end up talking about everything. I think the main piece of conversation during Saturday's pop-up happened to be about appliances. What are good ones, what are bad ones, and why are they bad, and warranties and all this kind of stuff. And you always learn something. I learn a lot from other people on there, and we share our ideas freely. It is a really great source of information, of entertainment, all in one package. So when will be the next pop-up sew day? I don't know. Probably not until August, because we're on July the 18th right now. Maybe sooner than that. I haven't decided yet. Now, we do have a long weekend here in Ontario and in other parts of Canada as well coming up. It's the first weekend in August, the August 1st weekend. I don't think Americans have a holiday then. So I'm thinking that might be a good time to have a pop-up sew day then. Haven't determined the date yet, not saying anything for sure, but you'll be known. I'll let you know. And I'll let you know through my videos, and I'll also send out, for those of you on my mailing list, a link for it and an announcement as well in advance. And if you want to be on that mailing list, all you have to do is just send me an email. My email address is in the show notes, and I'll be more than happy to add you to the list. Okay, so I think that's all the announcements there, but something I do want to share with you, and I already alluded to it when I was talking about the quilt I made for my brother and sister-in-law. When my brother dropped over yesterday to pick up the quilt, and so we could catch up as well. It's been kind of a hectic time for him, as you can probably understand, as they try to sort out the living accommodations and that for his mother-in-law. But he brought out to me, I didn't ask him to do this, but I think there was a bit of miscommunication when I went out to visit him out west. We were talking about the quilts my grandmother had made for each of us when back in the late 70s or early 80s. And she made 5 quilts. You've heard this story before if you're a regular here. She made 5 quilts, one for each of her grandchildren. Well, there is me, my brother, and my sister, and then my uncle, my mother's brother. He has 2 boys as well. So there were 5 grandchildren. But she made each one the same, but each one in a different color. And she didn't know at the time how she was going to distribute these. Was she going to let the oldest pick first, or let the only girl? My sister's the only girl, granddaughter. And I think she ended up letting my sister pick first. And the thing was, I didn't get to pick first. Now, you know I love the color blue, isn't it obvious? and there was a blue quilt in the set. As I said, they were all the same design. I didn't get the blue one. I got the brown, pinky, salmon colored one, which is a beautiful quilt, an absolutely beautiful quilt. Um, but the color scheme, not mine. So, for years it sat in a closet, and well, wasn't a quilter either, right? So I didn't have a true appreciation for it. Now, I did a whole thing about that back, I don't know how many months ago, within the last year, I think. So if you go back a ways, you'll probably find it. And I'm sorry, I'm not sure which video it is, so whatever. But I had mentioned to my brother that I had wanted the blue one. I guess he thought he got the blue one. How he got it, I don't know. But he ended up with the blue one. And I guess he thought I meant that I wanted it. So he brought it out with him from BC. So, like I said, I gave him a quilt, I got a quilt, and he got it in his suitcase, and so there's room for the one that I made for him as well. But I'm going to show you what this quilt looks like because I now have it in my possession, and this is it. This design, my grandmother drafted out. I have actually her pieces of cardboard that she drew little tiny grid lines on, and the template she used to cut it out, and everything like that. It's all hand quilted, and I'll show you, and I think it's probably hand stitched too. I don't think it's machine stitched, but she did all of this quilting by hand. And my grandmother, when she was younger, won awards at fairs and other competitions for her sewing, for her hand stitching, and that. She was a beautiful sewer. She was very, very talented. Here's the back. You can see the pattern a little better there. But the funny thing about this quilt is, this morning I washed it. It's been sitting underneath my niece's bed, I guess, for years in a plastic bag or something. So I threw it in the washing machine and washed it and dried it. And it washed fine, no problem that way. But it doesn't feel like there's any batting in it. I know that at one point in time, back, earlier than the 1980s, 1970s, before then, people sometimes for batting didn't use batting. They just used a bed sheet or a flannel sheet or something like that inside, or an old blanket. But when I lift this one up and feel it, it does not feel like there is anything between the backing fabric and the top at all. It's very limp. It's a beautiful quilt. No two ways about it. But just, it's just funny how, the quilting or the layers in it. In fact, I don't even think, if we look at this a little closer here, let me see if I can blow this up a little bit. Yeah, there is no quilting at all in these inner pieces. I just noticed that. It's stitched together. I don't even think there isn't even stitch in the ditch in that. The only quilting is in the border. Yeah, and in the border here too, but not in each of these little patches. That was probably the style or whatever at the time. But if you take a close look at it, you can tell that's all been, that patchwork is hand sewn. This took her forever. It had to have. And she made 5 of them. Can you believe it? She made 5 of these quilts. So yes, this is definitely a heritage piece. And like Walter said, he says, well, your brother and your sister-in-law don't understand the appeal of quilts probably. And I mean, it's been sitting under a bed for years and years and years. So now I have it, so I will preserve it. And yeah. So anyways, I thought though you might be interested. I've shown this before, but because I got the one that was the browns and the peaches, and which wasn't my color scheme, and it sat in a closet for years, and I had an appreciation for it because it was made by my grandmother, but I didn't have a full appreciation for it until I became a quilter. So I decided to reproduce using 20th century technology this quilt, and I did. And here is my version of it, and you've seen it before. So it is a little bit different because I did all of this using templates and things like that. I did it all on the sewing machine, and it is fully quilted as well. I actually quilted it on my domestic machine because at that time I did not have Lucy. And I just did walking foot, wavy lines through it all. But that's my version. So my grandmother's, mine. I didn't put on the prairie points either because I do not like prairie points. But yeah. So anyways, this is definitely a quilt from my grandmother that has a history, and I'm glad that I now have it after 40 years or more. So yeah, and that was nice of my brother to bring it out to me too. Okay, so let's see here. What else am I going to talk about? Okay, I have been working on something else. Sometimes you need a palette cleanser, or you just want to do something that you really don't have to think about. Well, I had to think about this a little bit, but I did buy 3 AccuQuilt dies when I was at the Canadian Quilt Show, and one of those is called Starry Patch. So I thought I'd give it a try. And so this is, I've got, actually there are 4. I didn't get the 4th one in the picture. This is what that die creates. And it's kind of an interesting looking star. And I decided to make it out of Christmas fabric. I have an idea here for a Christmas quilt. I'll make more of these patches, and I'm going to do them in other color ways as well, still using Christmas fabric kind of a thing. I really don't have more of a plan than that for it. I don't know how far I'll get on this. It's kind of a little tricky block to put together, but once you've done one, it's not too bad. And so, yeah. But, now I've got 2 projects on the go, the Cat Scratch and the Starry Patch kind of thing going. But I thought I'd just show it to you because it is a sort of an unusual design. But this is all done as patchwork as well. It is not a paper piece. Pieces are cut out with the AccuQuilt block called Starry Patch. Okay, and let's see. I wanted to talk a little bit more about, let me switch over here. I want to talk a little bit more about Tracy Parks. Tracy Parks is a lady who designed the Tomte Quilt. And she lives in England, and she lives on a boat, from what I understand. In fact, she has 2, I think she has 2 boats, and they're on a canal system that's in her part of the country. And on one of the boats is her living accommodation. On the other boat is her studio. And she does have pictures on her web page. And just let me see here if I can. Okay. Let me see if I can find this for you. There is a video.
Fiber helps you poop, right? Nope.
Ooh, well, there's something you didn't expect, right? Stupid ads on YouTube, really? Okay, let me see if I can, find this here. And I hate ads on YouTube. Okay, I'm just pulling up the video. And yeah, here we go. Okay, let's switch over. So this is on YouTube. This is Tracy Parks, and she is the creator of all of these very pixelated-like wall hangings, more or less, or quilts. And she has quite a few of them. And in this particular video, and I have the link for this video in the show notes below, you can check it out for yourself, she talks about her different quilt designs. It's easy to get a hold of one of her designs. You just go to her website, which is Rope and Anchor, and you can download them. They're £10, which works out, if you're Canadian, to about $16. If you're American, it probably works out to about $13. And it's a PDF, so you don't have to worry about shipping or anything like that. Her patterns are very straightforward, very easy to follow, and they're fun. And you see over in the one corner here, she's got a giraffe. And I really love that. And I think I may get that one eventually as well and do it. They're fun. They're easy. A lot of cutting. Okay, that's the one drawback. There's a lot of cutting, but the end result is worth it. So I have arranged, Tracy actually reached out to me and thanked me for talking about her pattern on one of my previous episodes of the Idiot Quilter, and thanked me for that. And so I sent her back an email requesting an interview, and we have set it up. On July the 31st, I will be interviewing Tracy, and it'll go up a few days later on my channel, so watch for that, because I think she's going to be a really fascinating interview. I mean, she's got a very unique studio setup, the whole bit. We'll talk about that, and yeah, I think this is going to be a lot of fun. So I'm looking forward to doing that very soon. Okay, so that takes me to, I think that's everything I want to catch up on there. Told you this was going to be long. Subscribers Quilt of the Week. Well, this is a fellow YouTube creator. I am sure you know this gentleman. If you do not, go to my show notes. There's a link to his YouTube channel. It's Russ from Quilt Meets World. And Russ, I'd like to call a friend now because we have, talked back and forth many times. He was on the Pop-Up Sew Day on Saturday, so some of you may have saw Russ there. But Russ had sent me a quilt to show. He couldn't show it on his own YouTube channel because it's for somebody that watches his YouTube channel. But he told me that it would be okay on mine because he figured this person didn't check me out. And he wanted this to be, a surprise. And I think he has delivered the quilt now. I think. I'm not absolutely sure. But anyways, I'm going to show you Russ's creation because Russ is a great quilter. This week's quilt comes from Russ Rice, and Russ, as you probably know, is the content creator for the YouTube channel Quilt Meets World. And Russ has been quilting for quite some time, and he does beautiful work. And so he sent me some pictures of this creation, which he intends to give as a gift. And this is what he says about this. I have this one I can't show on my channel yet, so if you want to feature it in the next week or two. I found this kit last year. My cousin's wedding theme was I love you to the moon and back, which meant I needed to make it for her and her husband. It was an awesome sew that went together fairly quickly. Their anniversary is in a couple of weeks, so I can't reveal on my channel until after they've received it. So let's take a look at this creation. And I love the panel, and I love the colors, and I especially love the stars that are around it as well. And the backing fabric has all these little moons that goes perfect with the whole theme of the quilt. And as you can see, these are different shots of it, and he's got his quilting. If you look in the stars a little bit, you can see the quilting there a little bit better. And his last picture is the best picture. There it is. I think this gives a much truer view of what this quilt looks like in the color scheme. For some reason, the colors in the previous pictures look like they've shifted a little bit, but this is an absolutely wonderful quilt. I am sure they are going to love this and cherish it forever. And hopefully they have a long and happy marriage so that the quilt doesn't get, redistributed over a divorce. But Russ, fantastic work, and I know they're going to really appreciate this. Okay, so that takes me to the YouTube of the week, and this is for a device invented by another YouTube creator that I'm sure you are aware of. And this device you may know about is called the Quilter Slidelock ruler. It is a wonderful cutting device. I do not own one yet, but I'm hoping down the road that I will be able to get my hands on one as well. And well, this video actually demos how to use it. So here's my review of that. This week's video of the week comes from Felon Caldwell of So Be It Quilts. And I'm sure most people are very familiar with Felon's YouTube channel. But if you're not, you need to check it out. But you definitely need to check out her invention called the Quilter Slidelock uh, ruler. This is a great cutting tool. I want to get my hands on one of them. She and her husband have developed this. He is a woodworker and he has designed it, and they have patented it as well. And it is an excellent cutting tool. It grips the fabric. Well, basically, the gripping mechanism is ingenious for this. I would say that this is definitely a must-have tool for anybody who struggles with keeping their cutting rulers straight on their fabric. It's also designed in such a way that it's really got a few safety features built into it. So, you know, if you've ever been cut with a rotary cutter, you know how devastating that can be. So do check out this video. The link is in the show notes below. Felon demonstrates how to use this ruler. She also shows you how they're made too. An excellent product. Check it out. And of course, the creator of the ruler is Felon from So Be It Quilts, which I'm sure you gathered in the video that I just linked to, and her husband. And yeah, so if you've never checked out So Be It Quilts, you need to. You need to. And you need to really seriously consider purchasing the Slidelock ruler, because it is a fantastic device. Okay, so that takes me to what's up next. Oh yeah, future projects. Well, let's blow up some bunnies, shall we? This week's future project is one that has a cute name called Blowing Up Bunnies, and it is just too cute to resist. Now, this of course comes from the Art East Quilting Company, which I'm sure most people are very familiar with because basically everybody's doing them. And they are a piecework, not a paper piecing project, which appeals to me because I'm really not into paper piecing. However, having said that, I might have given this one a go if I had seen it as a paper piecing pattern, because I just think it is hilarious. A lot of the Art East projects are hilarious as well. But I bought this at the Quilt Show, the Canadian National Quilt Show in Halifax back a month ago or so. And yeah, I just couldn't resist the pattern. Now, I could have gotten it as a kit, but I didn't. I just bought the pattern itself for this. Although I did buy a kit that's also equally as funny and cute with, I think it's called Cat Scratch, or it has cat scratching anyways. I have never done one of these patterns, but from what I've heard, they are very easy to follow. And it is a Canadian product as well. So if you're interested in getting something like this, this is the PDF version of it. Then you can go to the website. I've put the link in the show notes below, and you can have your own Blowing Up Bunnies pattern as well. And that also takes me to where I usually have a teaser for an upcoming interview. I don't have any right now. My next interview I've already mentioned is with Tracy Perks from from Rope and Anchor, and that's not until July the 31st, so the video will come out a few days after that, so stay tuned. Okay, let's go to online fabric stores or online quilt stores, and this is one, I believe someone sent me the link for this one to check it out. It's called Stacked Fabric Company. This week's online quilt store is called Stacked Fabric Company. I have never ordered from them before. This is my first experience with them. So let's take a look. Now, they are a Canadian company, of course, because I only review Canadian companies, but I'm really not sure where in Canada they're located. I couldn't find any information on their website about that. Don't even know if they have a brick and mortar store. I suspect that they don't. I suspect that they are just an online store. So let's take a look at what they have to offer. This is their front page, and they are featuring some of their collections that they keep in stock. They do have bundles as well, and they have a bundle club. Our Stacked Fabric Club is the best way to build your stash, with happy mail delivered right to your door every month. So we may take a look at this. They say there's no strings attached. You may cancel any time. I like that. So here is one of the collections that's up on Voyage, which I have not seen this collection before. Not really to my taste, but yeah, it's still an interesting selection. And something called Bramble. It looks like they have a lot of floral themed fabrics. Price seems to be $9.25, $15. That seems a little on the expensive side. That might, I don't know if this is half meters or quarter meters. Let's take a look. Let's click on this one and see. Half yard. Okay, their cuts are in half yards. I like things in meters. Canadian company, should be in meters. Sorry, that's just me. So $9.25 for a half a yard. So a yard puts that at $18.50. That's not bad. That's not a bad price right now. That's basically what we should expect. So I don't find that unreasonable. But what else do they have? Let's go to more and shop all. Okay, so they do have fabrics a little less expensive, $8.50 for a half a yard, so that's $17. That's still a very good price. Selection-wise, yeah, it's definitely, they love the florals. They have Aurifil thread. Now, I clicked on the all. Well, they have some that are a little on sale. $9, so it's $18. So their prices for, well, that's a good price on Bella Solids, $12 a yard. They seem to have quite a few pages of fabric. I'm just quickly scanning through. Okay, lots and lots of Bella Solids. Now, I'm wondering if, oh yes, okay, here we go. Designers. So Art Gallery, Camelot, Cotton and Steel, Deer Stella, Diamond Tef, Figo Fabrics. Figo Fabrics are a branch of Northcott, I believe. Nothing in that section. Okay. Riley Blake. Yes, some Riley Blake here. Fairy Dust. $18 a yard. Okay. They definitely go for the very busy prints. Ruby Star, Robert Kaufman. Okay, so they have a lot of the like very designer fabrics. Okay, now they're called stacked, so I have a feeling what they may specialize in is in bundles. So let's take a look at some of their bundles. $63, $54, $65. Let's see, this one, Catalina Wine Mix, back quarter bundle. Okay. $60, how many? 13 fat quarters. Well, that's not terrible price. That's what, about, well, that's under $5 a fat quarter. So that's pretty good, because fat quarters on average range around $5 Canadian right now. So that, or higher. So that's okay price. So overall, their prices, I think, are pretty good. Let's take a look at quilt kits. Don't have a lot to choose from in quilt kits. What's on sale? 60% off. Well, okay, a few things. Bundle sale. Okay. Sale prices aren't bad. Again, a lot of their fabrics are very, very busy in the terms of patterns. So if you like that, then you'll sure to find something here. For me, I'm not so much into that. What else? Substrates. Cotton, linen, canvas, wovens, and minky. Okay, notions. What you'd expect. The usual kind of thing. Not a lot of notions here. How about, it looks like they sell Aurifil thread. That's a good price for Aurifil right now. $14.95 Canadian. You Americans need to get on board here because you can take 30% of that off with the exchange rate. That's a really good price because I know Aurifil is around $21 a spool in the States right now. So you might want to consider that. Good prices there. They basic bundles, cotton and steel basics, Dear Stella. Okay, basic bundles. Okay. Colors. Okay, you can pick by colors as well. Mystery items. Let's check out mystery items. Ooh, they have a mystery box. Sold out. Those were on sale. Sold out. So it looks like those go pretty quick. And they have the Stacked Mystery Club, Monthly Fabric Club. Fat quarter local pickup, half yard, fat quarter shipped, half yard. Okay, so different prices depending on how you want to get it. $20. It says, by joining the Mystery Club, you'll be signing up to receive 4 coordinating mystery fabrics of my choice. These fabrics will be colorful geometric prints that I'm certain you will love to have join your personal stash. All fabrics are 100% quilter's cotton and will go beautifully together. Non-tracked shipping is included on all the prices that require mail out, so please choose the option that best suits your needs. Okay. So price is $20 and you're getting the fat quarters, $15 Canadian, you get 4. Okay. That doesn't throw me, to be honest. Yeah, I want more than that, although the price isn't bad, but that doesn't include the shipping. So, okay, so shipping, that's $15. That's for pickup. All right, I see how this works. Mail out's $20 plus 20. Okay, I'm a little confused. Is this in addition to? Let me see. If I switch over to half yard Canadian, well, that says 39. It says 38 there. I am confused. Is this in addition to the price they're showing here? Yeah, I don't know. That is something you'd have to look into a little bit more. If that is in addition to it, that's no bargain, I don't think. If they're only giving you 4 creating mystery fabrics. Okay, have to look into that a little bit more if you're interested in that kind of thing. So anyways, that's the Stacked Fabric Company. For me, the fabric choice is just a little too busy in the patterns, but they have some interesting bundles and they do have that club. So you might want to check it out. That's Stacked Fabric Company. So that brings me to the end of this episode, and what's coming up? Nothing much, really. I just want to remind you, if you're somebody that has watched here and you like what you see, please subscribe and give it a thumbs up. I am getting into the habit of saying that now because I have a goal. I'm hoping to have 10,000 subscribers by the end of this year. I don't know if I'm going to make it, but, you know, 1 subscriber at a time. So, yeah. So if you feel inclined to subscribe to me, I appreciate it. Okay, so that's it for me this week. Tune in later this week for another episode of So Chatty. Have no idea what we're talking about, but we never do. And then, of course, Stephen and Walter live on Sunday at our usual time of 4 p.m. Last week we were on an hour earlier for other circumstances, but we're back to regular time this coming Sunday, 4 p.m. Eastern. So hope to see you then. Have a great week. Go out, make something wonderful and creative, and just enjoy life. And we'll see you later. Bye for now.